Well, I have a question about, again, it's related to scaling. Like, for example, the product that we've developed is, as I said, it's already getting traction. People are onboarding in a slower manner because right now we don't want to put it on Facebook and YouTube and all of that until we get the perfect product to market fit. So, and also, I think we are too early to kind of, go and ask for money because we want to go with a strong case and to say that, okay, we've got so many clients with us paying, and then that's where when we really want to go and, present our case. So when we are at that particular level, when we are ready to, when we feel that we are ready, and we have a good feeling that, we can prove our case to a VC or whoever. Would you advise someone to first get some advisors on the board, or what would be the most natural way to sort of approach these people who would be able to kind of help us to grow the product into the scale that we want it to grow?
So about finding advisors. Okay. Maybe I'll mention something that I wish more founders put on their deck, right? Because, obviously top of mind is funding for most startups, and, we see, the typical deck and so on. In terms of the ask, especially if they're fundraising, there's, an amount and so on, 90% of startups don't put other asks, which could be advisors, which could be domain expert, which could be introduction to potential clients, right? Actually, if you can get good clients, they're actually better than raising funds. But nobody really thinks about that, because you think that if you have a deck, if you're actually even sending it to an investor, that's all that matters. I think, changing that perception is really, really going to help, because sometimes, you might reach out to an investor, right? Cold outreach, whatever. You send it to them. For various reasons, it might not work. It could be they might not invest in that stage of a startup. They might not invest in that sector. There could be so many reasons, which does not mean that you're a bad entrepreneur or your product, your company is bad, right? But if you include other asks, they might be willing to help you, right? So the best thing you can do, even when you're not fundraising, I would recommend people to start building those relationships. Those asks are very easy asks, right? If you're asking for funds, if you're asking for investment, I would have to do more due diligence, all of that. But even during that process, it's a very easy thing to introduce you to, a domain expert that has like a legal background maybe, or other partners and so on. So, that's a very small tweak on your deck, in your presentation, or when you have conversations, but, I think that would be helpful.